Hello everyone and welcome to today's lecture. So today what we are going to do is we are going to discuss the topic of peer review and quality review. Good review. Sorry, there was some issue with the voice. Yeah. So we are going to discuss the topic of peer review and quality review. Okay. Today, so first we'll take the peer review and then we'll shift to the quality review. Along with that, we'll also discuss what are the amendments in the topic, because we'll be discussing the revised statement of the peer review which was issued in 2021. What are the changes in that particular statement and the particular areas where there is a change. Then along with that, we will also review some of the questions related to this particular topic, wherein how these things will be practically applicable and some MCQs, so that it will enhance our understanding. During the session, if at any point in time, if you feel there is some question or there is some doubt, please feel free to ask. You can use the app to post your questions. I'll be taking up your questions. If you have any query related to any of the previous three topics that I have taken, then you can ask the questions. If if we can get some time at the end of the session, I'll take up those questions, or otherwise I'll try to reply before start of the next topic in next lecture, so that it will be very easy for you guys also. Okay, so let me start. So guys, peer review. Now, what do you mean by peer review? To understand the topic of the peer review, we need to first understand what is the term peer review, who are involved in this particular topic, like who are involved in this particular process. Okay, what are their roles and responsibilities, and then we'll go how it is conducted. Okay. Now, when I speak about peer review, there are two things. One, it's about peer. That is, peer means it is the colleague or of the same you can say person of same field, of same position. Okay, like it is my peer, he's my peer, like he's working on the same position, he has the same qualification, same experience or related experience. Okay, he's from the same field. That is peer. And that is means you can say a colleague. Okay, or you can say a member. Now, second term is review. Now, what do you mean by review? Review means self-examination, or not self-examination, but re-examination. Re-examination of some data, some information which was given, which is under the review. You can say retrospective evaluation. Retrospective means evaluation by doing of previous data. So I'll say re-examination. Okay, re-examination of information. So peer review means that a member of the institute conducts a re-examination of the information which is under the scope of the review, okay, to ensure certain things. Now, which are those things, we'll see in a while, but that's a peer review. Okay. It's an old concept. It is there since long. Okay, this particular concept. It is, examined by one of the member that some state with respect to some compliance, they examine the data, they examine some information, and they, on the basis of that, they issue a report. That's a particularly crux of the peer review. Now, when I say re-examination of the information, what information that we are here looking to re-examine? What are the scope? Like the information over here will discuss about the scope of the peer review. Okay. So what is the scope of peer review? What are the things that are re-examined? So in peer review, compliance with technical, professional, ethical standards, technical, professional, and ethical standards. So in peer review, we see or we re-examine the information, and the information is compliance with the technical, professional, and ethical standard. Number one. Number two, quality of reporting, that how a particular entity or a particular member or a firm is reporting. What is the quality of their reporting? Okay. Number three, system and procedure. System and procedure for carrying out assurance services. Now, assurance services, where we are providing any kind of assurance in any kind of engagement. Let's say, for example, audit, certifications. Okay, these are the assurance engagements where we are providing assurance service to our clients. So, system and procedure means what is the system that the member firm has adopted to carry out the particular assurance service, like from accepting the client till the time of reporting. What are the things, checks, you can say that the member firm has placed for an assurance service. So today, let's say for example, if I want to provide a service, I directly cannot provide a service. First, I'll perform the acceptance or a continuation for the client. I'll see whether I can accept a client or not. I can continue this client or not. Whether there is a conflict of interest or something like that, I'll see in depth. Then there will be formalities that I will be completing. Not formalities, but the prerequisites, I can say. Prerequisites like engagement letters, understanding the terms of my engagement, scope of my engagement. Okay, let's say for example, if it is a certification, then what I'm going to certify, what is the area that I'm going to certify, period that I'm for which I am going to certify. Okay, then I will understand the after understanding the scope, I'll gather information, I'll plan for the engagement. So there are system and procedures which I will follow to provide that assurance service. Okay, and that particular system and procedure will be covered in re-examination of the information in peer review. I hope I'm clear. Then the next thing that is covered is training programs for staff. So training programs for staff, including article and audit assistant. Now, this is only concerned with, okay, assurance functions, means related to assurance function, including availability of the appropriate infrastructure, means infrastructure related to the training programs, that whether the member or the firm has appropriate infrastructure to provide the training program. So including availability of proper infrastructure. So now training program, why? Reason because staff is a critical thing, or for in the service industry, we call staff, we call manpower, we call human resource. It is a very critical thing. It's a very important thing in the service industry, or in even our practice, because what we are providing, the service or the assurance, is through that human resource, is through that staff. If our human resource is not adequately trained, if they are not adequately updated from time to time, if there is no training programs in the firm, if there is no provision for updating the knowledge of the staff, then it may happen that they are not able to provide the assurance service appropriately. For example, now in a company's audit, we are supposed to have the knowledge of the recent amendment in the Companies Act. Now today, if the staff is not updated with the recent amendment in the Companies Act, then what will happen? Then they will not be able to verify the recent changes, or in the financial statement. Let's say, for example, changes with respect to the Schedule 3. Now tomorrow, if client prepares financial statement based on old Schedule 3, they will never come to know that there is a recent amendment in the Schedule 3 if appropriate training programs are not carried on. That's why training programs are very important for assurance functions or staff of assurance function. Okay, to keep them updated with the current and amended laws and regulations, so that we can deliver appropriate quality of service. Okay, now these training programs, as I said, they are must, and these training programs are covered under the peer review. Re-examination of information, and the information will also cover my training program. Then the next area is compliance with the directions or guidelines issued by council. Now these guidelines can be related to fees that are required to be charged, number of audits that we can take, okay, register for assurance engagement which are conducted during the year, and other records. So compliance with directions, compliance with directions and guidelines issued by council to members. Now these guidelines can be related to fees to be charged, then number of audits, then register for assurance service, and other related records. Okay. So compliance with the directions and guidelines issued by council to member. If I say, this was short form, FRN. So FRN is also stands for firm's registration number with ICI. So each and every firm has a FRN number. But if you can see over here also, fees, number of audits, and register for assurance engagement that are required to be direction with respect to these areas. Okay. So in peer review, re-examination of whether the firm has complied with the directions issued with respect to the fees to be charged for assurance engagement, number of assurance engagement that has been taken, okay, or number of audits that have been taken, register for assurance engagement, whether a register has been maintained for the assurance engagement, conducted during the year and other related records that with respect to these areas. Then another area that will be re-examined, or information of that particular area will be seen, is compliance with the direction and guidelines of council, but related to article assistant or audit assistant, attendance register, work diaries, stipend payments, and related to that particular area. So same, compliance with directions and guidelines issued by council related to article assistant, then attendance register, then work diaries, stipend payment, and other related things. So that's the information that will be re-examined in the peer review. Now, this is a scope. This is basically a scope that I'm discussing over here. Now, this particular scope, okay, when I say compliance with technical, ethical, and professional standards, these standards are like, there is a list which is, again given, which specifies, okay, which are these standards and that we are talking about. Okay, and we'll see in a while. Then quality of reporting, then as we discussed, systems and procedures. So each and every area has been appropriately defined. We'll see in a while that area. Okay, now this was about the information. Okay, this was about the information that is re-examined in the peer review. Now, to understand the term re-examination, now what is a re-examination? How depth the re-examination is carried? Okay, we need to understand few things. In case of a re-examination, when I say re-examination, it is this. There is a statement of peer review, guys. Now, this statement is the you can say the authority, or you can say the thing which on the basis of which the peer review works. Okay. So, if you read the statement of the peer review also, then there is a objective which is provided. Okay, what is the objective and purpose of this particular statement, and what is the objective of peer review? So in that particular statement, it is given that the objective of peer review is to ensure that in carrying out the assurance service engagements, the member of institutes are complying with the technical, professional, ethical standards. Also, whether they have a proper system, including documentations and policies, everything, to demonstrate the quality that they are providing in the assurance engagement. So that's the main purpose of the peer review that is provided in the peer review statement. Okay, the main objective of the peer review. However, it is also stated that in that peer review, okay, does not seek to redefine the scope and authority of technical standard. means it is not defining to whom the technical, professional, or ethical standards will apply. It is not defining that particular thing, but it will just verify that whether these standards, okay, have been appropriately implemented or not on paper but in actual also. That's the main purpose of the peer review, to see whether the appropriate implementations have been done or not. Now, this is the main purpose of the peer review that we are talking over here. Again, it is not a purpose of the peer review just to identify deficiencies. Okay, so primary objective is not to identify the deficiencies but to improve quality. So being in a positive way, that here the peer review is not only focused on just to identify, okay, what is the deficiency in the documentation, what is the deficiency, here you are not follow this, here you are not follow this, here you are not follow this, but the purpose of peer review is to identify the areas where the quality can be improved. Okay, there, this is a particular area, there we can improve the quality. This is the particular area of the documentation where we can improve the quality, or this is the particular area where this particular standard or professional standard was not followed, but we can follow and we can improve the quality. Are you getting my point? Any doubt, guys? So, the objective of peer review is not to identify deficiencies, but to improve the quality, okay, of services provided or rendered by the members. Okay, that's the main objective. Now, when I say this particular term, objective, let us define a bit more. Okay, so let us discuss the term objective over here a bit in detail. As I said, the statement, peer review statement itself says that what is the objective of peer review? It says that the objective of peer review is to ensure, okay, is to ensure that in carrying out assurance engagement, in carrying out the assurance engagement, by the member of institute, whether these engagement comply technical, professional, ethical standards. Okay, I'll write it in a short form, TPE standards, that is technical, professional, ethical standards. But please, in exam, Do not use such acronyms or short forms. Please don't use. Write the full words or the sentences, that otherwise it will create a confusion for the checker also. So don't use in the exam. Just I'm using for the purpose of notes. Okay. So to comply with the technical, professional, ethical standards plus other regulatory requirements. Okay. That's the objective of the peer review, that to ensure that in carrying out the assurance engagement, compliance with the technical, professional, standards plus other regulatory requirements is done. Second, proper systems. Okay, proper systems, including documentation, are in place, or are present, which demonstrate quality of assurance service, or you can say to demonstrate quality of assurance service. Okay, that's the objective. Now you'll say this is something similar that we discussed a bit ago, like similar to scope that we were discussing. Exactly. The reason, because what is your objective will evolve and become your scope. So there will be a similarity between your objective and scope. Okay. This is scope of peer review. Now this we are talking about objective of peer review. Remember, whatever your objective is will evolve and will become your scope. Okay. Now, so the second area we are talking about till now that we need to understand is assurance engagement. Okay, we need to understand what is assurance engagement. What is assurance engagement and what is covered under the assurance engagement? Because this is a term that we will be using multiple times during this particular topic. So it's better we have a clarification, understanding of this particular term. It's pretty easy, nothing difficult. Assurance engagement, as defined by the framework issued by the Chartered Accountants of India, okay, the institute, which says that any assignment, okay, which is designed to enhance the degree of confidence, okay, or engagement where the objective is to express opinion or a conclusion designed so either if I express an opinion or a conclusion which is designed to enhance the degree of confidence. Designed to enhance the degree of confidence of users, means intended users. Let's say if it is for the general public, then confidence of general public. So enhance the degree of confidence of intended users about the outcome, evaluation, or measurement of subject matter. Okay. Now, designed to enhance the degree of confidence, but regarding which? Confidence regarding what? So, confidence related to outcome that is discussed, or conclusion over here. Outcome, conclusion, or the opinion that we are giving. Okay. Outcome of the evaluation, then you can say measurement of a subject matter against any criteria that is prescribed. Okay. Means measurement of subject matter against criteria means, for example, you can say criteria for a certification. If there is a criteria given for a certification or for the measurement, and let's say, for example, not a measurement for the valuation or for some particular areas, the criteria that is given. You can say the scope of a certification. So what is the measurement that was against what is the scope, or that was supposed to be there for a certification? So that's a particular, we are talking about assurance engagement. Means engagement where the objective is to express opinion or conclusion designed to enhance the degree of confidence of intended users. Now, confidence related to the outcome of the evaluation that has been done, for which we have issued an opinion or a conclusion, or where the measurement of a subject matter is there and for which the criteria is given. So measurement against that criteria of a subject matter. That's the assurance engagement. I hope it is clear. Absolutely correct, Saida. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt till now? Any doubt? Any doubt? These are the terms that we are discussing, because on the basis of this, these are the terms which will be discussed and will be used multiple times in this topic when I'll move forward. Okay. Now you will be wondering, okay, this is, we understood the general definition of assurance engagement, but there are some exceptions. But does not include, assurance engagement does not include management, consultancy, service, then representation, before authorities, Then you can say preparation of tax returns. Just advice on taxation matters, engagement on compilation of financial statement, then assisting any client in preparation and presentation of financial statement. Okay, we are not hired as an auditor, but we are assisting the client, something as an outsourced, or we are also helping the client in preparation and presentation of the financial statement. Testifying as expert witness, providing expert opinion, okay, on the basis of accounting standards, applicability of certain laws, or basis of fact provided by the client. So when you are providing expert opinions or on point of principles, so that is not counted over here. Engagement of due diligence. So due diligence is also not covered under assurance engagement as per the definition. Okay. So these are things which are not covered under assurance engagement. Another word that we will be using is attestation function. Okay, assurance engagement or attestation function, both are same. So we started with the word peer review, then we expanded on member, re-examination of information, re-examination, we understood, okay, what is the re-examination? What is the objective? We understood the objective. Then we understood what is the information that we are going to re-examine. That is the scope of peer review. Understood? Fine. Now, the next thing that we need to understand is what is we are calling as a peer over here, member. So generally, when I say peer or member, it is, I'll now rub this particular term over here and I'll write that is reviewer. Okay. So in a peer review, a reviewer re-examines information. Okay, re-examination, he performs the re-examination of information that is there. Now, who are the reviewers over here? So reviewer means member approved and empaneled by board now there are certain criteria after which only the empanelment can happen. Okay, so member approved and empaneled by the board based on criterias. Now, these criterias are stated in, I'll say, just para 10 of peer review statement that we will discuss. Okay. So sorry. Yeah. So para 10 of peer review statement that we are going to discuss now. Now, what are the criteria that are prescribed for a reviewer? So, if I go to that, if I discuss that particular para of the statement, it says that eligibility to be a reviewer. Okay, eligibility to be a reviewer. So this para provides the eligibility criteria. What are the eligibility criteria that we are discussing over here? Is that a peer reviewer shall be, okay, at least member in practice with at least 7 years of audit experience. So at least he should have the 7 years of audit experience. That's the first criteria. Just to highlight particular thing. Then, so, and like anyone cannot be a reviewer. To be a reviewer, he needs to have at least 7 years of audit experience. At least 7 years of audit experience. Okay. Now you will say, what if the person was earlier into job, now he has moved to the practice? What he should do? Will he not be whether he will be qualified to be a reviewer or not? So in that case, let's say for a person who has moved from industry to practice, okay, member moved from industry to practice, for him, okay, what are the requirement is? At least 10 years, at least 10 years of audit experience, in industry, plus at least 3 years of audit experience in practice. So if he has moved to practice, then he needs to have at least 3 years of audit experience from practice. Okay. And 10 years of audit experience from industry. So total 13 years of audit experience is required if he has moved from industry to practice. That is the requirement. Now this is the eligibility of a reviewer. Plus, over and above this, over and above the experience requirement, the reviewer shall undergo the requisite training, and he should clear the test. Okay, so there's a test conducted by the peer review board. So that particular so if anyone wants to be a peer reviewer, then he needs to appear into the test, and he needs to appear into the training, and he needs to clear the test. So should clear the test. He should undergo the training, clear the test, plus experience, then you are eligible to be a reviewer. That is a para 10 requirement of eligibility of a peer reviewer. Okay. Plus, now we discussed, okay, what is the eligibility requirement? Understood, fine. But there are some disqualifications also. So these are disqualifications for peer reviewer. Okay, same, it is prescribed in para 10.3 of the statement, you can say. Now these are the references. Why I am providing you the reference? I am providing you the reference so that you can go to the statement, you can read the statement, or you can, it will enhance your understanding. That's why I am providing the reference also. Okay. So what are the disqualifications generally for a particular peer reviewer? Like any disciplinary actions or proceedings should not be pending. So if any disciplinary proceedings are pending, action are pending, then he will be disqualified. Okay. Found guilty of professional misconduct. Found guilty of professional misconduct by the board or council or disciplinary committee or director discipline. Okay. Then convicted by a competent court. Convicted by court for offense involving moral turpitude and punishable with imprisonment. So punishable with imprisonment and moral why reason? Because why we are writing with punishable with imprisonment or involving moral turpitude? Reason here is that there are, let's say for example, traffic violation. Now by mistake you crossed the line at the signal and you were fined. Okay, that is also being convicted by court. But the punishment is not imprisonment, and that does not involve moral turpitude. It only involves, traffic violation. So that's why it is not to say that every conviction by court is of this particular nature, where there is an imprisonment or this particular provision will get attracted. Okay. Then conflict of interest with practicing unit. Okay. Or I'll just write with practice unit. And the last one is involved or has performed. Okay. Has performed or has undergone the training or articleship at practice unit. So if any of the thing is present, then the particular person will be disqualified to be a peer reviewer. Okay. So this was a particular that we discuss about reviewer, re-examination of the information. Then you can say objective scope, what is the assurance engagement, qualifications of the reviewer. Now, let's take one small example. So let's see how it goes. I'll just keep 1 minute over here. If you want to copy down the notes, just copy down it quickly. We can pause over here and copy down the notes. Reason because if you'll maintain the notes, it will help you for your reference purpose. Okay. Yeah. So let's take one simple example to understand the concept. Okay. Let's say Mr. X was appointed as a peer reviewer of, let's say, ABC and company. Now, he selected the below engagements as a sample for peer review. Okay, he selected the below engagement as sample for the peer review. 1. Tax audit of, let's say, DEMA Limited statutory audit of DEMA Limited. Now these are the all engagement conducted by the ABC and company. Okay. Then application for tax residency certificate of DEMA Limited. Then advice / application, or you can say implementation of Ind AS 116 for EMEA Limited. Okay. So these were the engagement that was selected by peer reviewer, Mr. X. Now you tell me which one is the correct and which is out of the scope of the peer review. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of the 4 options, which can be under the scope of the peer review and which cannot be? Pretty easy, nothing difficult, guys, over here. You can consider this one as a refresher. Come on, guys. Pretty much easy, pretty simple. There is nothing difficult in this. We discussed the definition of assurance engagement. Okay. Now, this is you on the basis of that you need to discuss. Okay, what is the whether they will fall under the category of assurance engagement or not. Come on, guys. Okay. So number 4. Okay. One answer that I have received, that number 4 will not be part of assurance engagement. Okay. Come on, guys. Come on. I'm waiting for your answer. Pretty much easy. There is nothing difficult. It's a refresher one. Just now, if you see the notes, what we discussed for the assurance engagement, it is same. Okay. So, in the current case, tax audits, stat audit, they are the audit. Okay. Assurance engagement. Audits are assurance engagement by default, because audit is for the purpose of enhancing the confidence in the intended users, and we express an opinion. So by default, they are the assurance engagement. I'll not go into that detail whether they are or not. So they are assurance engagement. Okay. So I'm good with that. Application for tax residency certificate. See, tax residency certificate is just application for tax residency certificate is a job, like you can say administrative one, where we are applying to get one particular record from the department. There is no enhancement or you can say confidence. There is no enhancement of confidence in the current case in the intended user. So today, if I say, okay, I have a tax residency certificate. Now, do you think that will enhance my confidence in my financials? So financial without tax residency and financial with tax residency certificate, will it make a difference? No. So that is not the purpose of enhancing the confidence. So application for tax residency certificate, it's not an assurance engagement. Even advice application or implementation of Ind AS 116 for a particular company, that is an advisory. Okay, that is not you can say an assurance engagement. It is similar on the lines we are helping a particular company in preparation and presentation of the financial statement. So we'll help them in implementation of Ind AS 116 for their preparation and presentation of financial statement. So again, that will not be part of my assurance engagement. Clear? So option 3 and 4, like services number that option 3 and 4 over here, they both are not part of my assurance engagement, and hence they will not be covered for the peer review. Only 1 and 2 will be covered for the peer review. Okay. Another question. Mr. A wants to apply for empanelment of peer review. In empanelment of peer review. He wants to apply in empanelment of peer review. Peer reviewer. Okay. Now, he has completed the training and cleared the test. He has below experience. Okay, he has a below experience. Now, on the basis of experience, you need to provide whether he is eligible to be a reviewer or not. Okay. So, company designation from date to date. Okay. Let's say in a company DEME Limited, he was a project implementation manager. Let's say from 1/4/95 to show the experience till 31/3/98. Then let's say then he shifted to EMA Limited. Over there, he was involved in financial reporting, manager, where he used to assist in audit also. So from 1/4/98 to let's say 31/3/7. Then let's say EMEA Limited. He was again And finally, after leaving this particular company, he started his own practice, ABC and Company. Okay. Where he's a proprietor. He performs all kind of services like audit, advisory, taxation. Okay. Now from 1412 to, let's say, 31/3/22. Okay. So this is a particular like experience of Mr. A. For a simplification, I'll write 3 years. Okay. So I'll just write it down the years so that it will be very easy for you. Nine years. Again, 5 years and 10 years. Now you tell me whether Mr. A is eligible to be appointed as an peer reviewer or not. So he shifted from industry to practice in 2012, as we see. Come on, guys. Pretty much easy. Nothing difficult. So whether he is eligible to be a peer reviewer or not. Come on, guys. Pretty much easy. Whether he is eligible to be a peer reviewer or not. Remember that we discussed eligibility of the reviewer para 10. Okay. So use that eligibility criteria and let's discuss, try to answer whether he will be eligible or not and on the basis of which condition. Come on, guys. Pretty easy, nothing difficult over here. Just you need to apply the eligibility criteria and it will be done. That we discussed. So whether he is eligible or not. You need to think whether this experience is relevant or not, and on the basis of this experience, whether he is eligible or not. And guys, this is the area where It is a, you can say amendment also compared to the last time. Earlier the requirements were different. Now there has been slight change in the requirements. So think about whether whether Mr. A will be eligible or not. Let's go back once again. I'll just show you the criteria which are there, just to to clear out any doubt. So the eligibility criteria talks about member in practice with at least 7 years of audit experience, member who have moved from industry to practice, at least 10 years of experience in industry, plus at least 3 years of experience in audit practice. Okay, so he needs to have at least 10 years in industry in audit experience and 3 years of audit experience in practice who have moved from industry. Otherwise, member in practice, at least 7 years of experience. So based on this, what do you say? Now, okay, let me discuss one. See, first of all, understand whether there is an audit experience or not in so just to this particular thing that the member has shifted from industry to practice, it's just to confuse you guys, because the first condition is that he should be in practice for at least 7 years. Now he is in practice for since last 10 years. The first condition is satisfied. I'm not required to check whether he was having in job 10 years of experience plus in practice 3 years of experience. No, the job and that particular moved from industry to practice condition is applicable when they don't have a sufficient experience in practice. That's why their experience from the industry is being counted and it being made equivalent to the experience for the practice. However, if you apply that particular thing over here, so this is I written audit, so this is an audit experience, but this is 9 years, which is less than my 10 years. So we'll say, okay, he doesn't have the experience in industry for 10 years. Hence, this will not be applicable. Okay, you will say he will not be eligible. But that is not correct. Reason because alone itself, this particular experience satisfy my first condition. So Mr. A will become eligible to be a peer reviewer. Understanding my point? So this just a tricky question. Just to shift it from industry to practice, you can totally ignore it because he himself has a standalone practice experience in audit sufficient enough to qualify for a peer reviewer. Are you getting my point? I hope, Sairam, this has provided the answer to your question. That answer you submitted, so it will explain why there is a difference. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt? Okay. So there are few questions or queries that I have received. One is whether it is compulsory to follow or it is recommendatory in nature. The peer review, whether it's compulsory to have a peer review or it's a recommendatory in nature. It's a compulsory. So the peer review statement, it says that it is for all the entities, all the practicing unit. So if you see the applicability criteria of the peer review statement, it says that every practice unit, including its branches, based on their categories, will be subject to peer review. So it is applicable to all. Now the second question or the query that we have received is whether for peer review, is there any auditing standard like SA 220 or something? So there is no auditing standard for the peer review. Peer review is governed by the peer review statement, which is issued by the institute. Okay. Now this statement covers all the guidelines, all the you can say methodology that how a peer review is required to be conducted, functions of peer review board, composition of peer review board, eligibility criteria, then practice unit, obligation of you can say peer reviewer, periodicity, review framework, everything from planning, execution, reporting, everything is covered in that particular statement. So that statement is a final authority for the peer review. Okay. So that's the in response to the queries. Any further queries, guys? Any further doubt? No? Okay, no issues. So I'll just write down the answer over here. Mr. A is eligible for peer work. Simple. Okay. So that we discussed the criteria, scope, objective, definition of assurance engagement. Okay. Now I'll quickly cover one more area, which is definition of technical, professional, and ethical standards. Now we discuss in the scope what are the that we need to check the compliance, or in peer review there will be a review of whether there has been compliance with the technical, professional, or ethical standards. So a detailed definition has been provided for this particular area. What is the technical, professional, and ethical standard mean? Okay, what this means. Now, what are the things which are covered under the category of technical, professional, or ethical standards? So, first, accounting standards issued by ICAI. Okay, issued by ICAI, applicable for entities other than companies, applicable to other entities than company. Now I'll say why you are excluding the company. Reason because for companies there is an X line. Accounting standards notified, or you can say prescribed under section 133 of Companies Act. Okay. Now these are issued by central government based on the recommendation of ICAI in consultation and with after examination by the NFRA. So prescribed by central government in consultation with ICAI, sorry, not consultation, recommendation. Okay, on recommendation of ICAI and in consultation with NFRA. Now guys, this is an amendment that I'm talking over here. Reason because this has been changed and the words has been, changed based on the applicability. So earlier, the reference to the NFRA and this particular, applicable section was not mentioned, and that has been revised to include the applicable wordings for this. Okay. Then Indian accounting standards, Ind AS basically, Ind AS prescribed under section 133, okay. Under section 133, again by of Companies Act, by central government on recommendation of ICI and in consultation with NFRA and notified from time to time. Okay, so again, that is also part of amendment. Okay. Then, okay, standard issued by ICI. Now, which are these standards we are talking about? Engagement and quality control standards. Okay, engagement and quality control standards, standards on auditing. These are the engagement and quality control standards. Okay, then statements which are issued by ICI from time to time, like peer review statement that we are discussing right now. Guidance note. For example, guidance note on tax audit, guidance note on CARO, applicability of CARO 2020, guidance note on, on various topics are there. Standards on internal audit. Then guidelines, notifications, announcement issued by council. So guidelines, notifications, you can say directions, issued by council or committee. Okay, then that was the standard issued by ICI. Okay, this is under that particular scope. Then framework for preparation and presentation of financial statement. Okay, framework for preparation and presentation of FS financial statement. Remember, there is a framework provided for like in India also there is a framework provided, for AS also there is a framework provided, or before start of any of the standards. So let's say for example, if you see there are preface to the standards on quality control, audit and review. So There is a framework given before starting of the auditing accounting standard or Ind AS. So these framework or prefaces are also important, and their compliances are also verified. So framework for preparation and presentation of FS and preface to, you can say, engagement and quality control standards. Then provisions of or provisions, rules, regulations of relevant laws. So provisions, rules, regulations issued of relevant laws, that will also be covered under the technical, professional, ethical standards. So this is a list that when we talk about technical, professional, ethical standard, then what it means. Okay, it means accounting standard issued by ACI for other entities other than company. For companies, accounting standard issued under section 133 or NDS issued under section 133. Then standard issued by ICI, which can be engagement and quality control standards. Usually we used to know as a standard on auditing standards. Then statements, various statements issued by ICI, guidance note issued, standard on internal auditing, internal audit, then guidelines notification issued by council. Let's say, for example, guidelines on advertisement or guidelines on something else, like issued by Council General guidelines, issued by ICI. Framework for preparation and presentation of FS, preface to engagement and quality control standards, provisions, rules, regulations of relevant laws which are applicable to a particular engagement. All these in total combination will become your technical, professional, and ethical standards. Okay, that is TPE. Clear? Any doubt? Any doubt, guys? Are you understanding, guys? Like, are you getting the things over here? I'll request, please provide your feedback so that, at least I can understand whether you are, understanding the things or the topic, whether you are able to understand or is there any doubt, something. Please, I'll request to provide the feedback because it's very important for me to understand that you are getting things clearly. So your feedback will definitely help me in the current case. If you provide your feedback, I'll be able to understand, okay, I'm providing appropriately or you are getting appropriately. If there is something missing, just let me know. Then, I can provide that particular, the thing which is missing, I can modify so that, you can get it appropriately. So please provide your feedback. That is very necessary and very important for me. Any doubt? No? Okay, guys, let's take a quick 10-minute break and then we'll continue with the rest of the topic. Okay, let's take a quick 10-minute break. Okay, guys, welcome back. I hope everyone is recharged. Okay, now let's continue for the topic. Okay, we have one query over here. In case in the first example that we discussed that, okay, Mr. X, okay. Now let's say in that example, if Mr. X has taken training on articleship, then he would have been ineligible to be a peer reviewer. Now, ineligible to be a peer reviewer for the entity for which or under which he has taken the article. For example, if he has taken, okay, the articleship in ABC and company, then Mr. X would have been ineligible to be appointed as a peer reviewer for ABC and company. Okay. Otherwise, he will not be ineligible. He will not be ineligible, and for the rest of the entities, he will be eligible. I hope I have clarified it out. Okay. So till now we discussed what? Just to provide a recap, what we discussed. What is peer review? Means the reviewer, re-examination. We understood the objective of the re-examination. We understood the scope of peer review, like what information is covered. Okay. Then we discussed the eligibility of the reviewer. We discussed in the scope what are the technical, professional, and ethical standard. Okay. We discussed what is the disqualification for the peer reviewer. Then we also discussed what are the assurance or attestation functions, assurance engagement. Okay. Now, the thing we need to understand is we talked about re-examination of information. Okay. Now, let's expand the scope of this particular thing. When I say peer review of practice unit. Okay. Now, we perform the peer review of practice unit by a reviewer. Okay. Now, what do you mean by practice unit? Now, let's say, for example, in case of a peer review, we will perform review of something like, okay, some entities, some firms, member firms. Okay, those member firms are known as practice unit. Okay, those member firms are known as the practice unit. Now, there is a specific guidelines or detail given with respect to the member unit or practice unit, who are practice unit, and what is basically covered under the practice unit. So, just a minute. Okay, yeah. So for the practice unit, like as I said, that peer review is for all of the entities, all of the practice units. So all of the practice units are covered under the peer review. However, there has been bifurcation in practice unit also. Okay, every practice unit, including its branches, are covered under the peer review. But when I say practice unit, they are covered and they are bifurcated into two levels, level 1 and level 2. So I'll write it down over here. So peer review for all practice unit, okay, including branches, based on the category that is determined. Now, what is the category that I'm talking about? So all practice unit are either divided into level 1 or level 2 practice unit. Okay, level 1 and level 2 practice unit. Now, which are the level 1 or which practice unit? Like say, if I say practice unit in a simpler term, it's a CA firm or a member firm or a member. So which are the practice unit which will be termed as a level 1 practice unit? So there is a conditions or specific guidelines given to identify which are the level 1 or level 2 practice unit. Okay. So the guidelines are covered under the statement itself. Okay. But just to provide you to the reference of that particular thing, it's a para 11 of or section para 11 or section 11 of that particular statement, which talks about this particular bifurcation. Okay. Okay. Now let us discuss the level 1 first. Level 1 practice units will be practice unit carrying statutory central audit of bank or insurance company. So statutory central audit of bank and insurance company. So if any of the practice unit is performing this statutory audit of statutory central audit of bank or insurance company, then that particular practice unit will be covered in level 1. Okay. Then second, statutory audit of central or state public sector undertakings. So statutory audit of central or state PSU, but there has been change. Okay. PSU and central cooperative societies. But there has been change compared to the last time. Now they have been provided a limit of turnover. So PSU and central cooperative societies having turnover greater than rupees 250 CR or net worth greater than rupees 5 CR. Okay. Then practice unit having statutory audit of asset management companies or mutual fund. So if you have a statutory audit of asset management companies or mutual fund, then you will be the practice unit level 1. Then statutory audit of enterprise, whose equity or debt securities are listed in India or abroad as per the LODR regulations. So statutory audit of entities having equity or debt listed as per SEBI LODR regulations. Okay. Then statutory audit of any body corporate, trust which are covered under public interest entities. So statutory audit of body corporate or trust which are covered under public interest entities. Statutory audit of entities who have raised funds from public or bank or financial institution. So, statutory audit of entities have raised entities which have raised entities that have raised funds, okay, from public or bank or financial institution, okay, or financial institution by way of loan or donation by way of raise funds from public, bank, financial institution, or they have raised fund by way of donation or contributions. But there is a limit prescribed exceeding greater than rupees 50 crore. Okay. Till last time, there were two different categories for the fund raised from the public, bank, or financial institution and by way of donation or contribution. Now that has been clubbed. So these conditions have been amended from compared to last year. So these are the, you can say, amendment in the topic. Then statutory audit of entities having net worth greater than rupees 100 crore or having turnover greater than rupees 250 crore. Okay. Then statutory audit again of entities funded by central government scheme, funded by central government or state government schemes, okay, greater than rupees 50 crore. So if they have been funded by the central government or state government scheme, where the fund amount or the amount which has been funded to the entities exceeds 50 crore, then that entity, audit of that entity will make you category 1. If you are performing audit of that entity, then it will carry you to the level 1 entity. Level 1 practice unit, my mistake, yeah. Then statutory audit of NBFC, okay, having deposit exceeding rupees 100 crore. Then statutory audit of entities preparing financial statement in or as per Ind AS, not in, as per Ind AS. So if any of the entity preparing financial statement as per Ind AS, and if you are doing audit of that particular entity, then you will become level 1 entity, a level 1 practice unit. Okay. If your firm, if you are doing audit of any of these entities, then you will be classified as the level 1 practice unit. Level 1 practice unit. So these are the conditions, or you can say criteria for level 1 practice unit. So bank, insurance, okay. Then state or PSU, AMC, mutual fund, then listed entities, okay. Then body corporate, or public interest entities. You can say then they have raised fund. So my screen was freezed. Okay. Then net worth and turnover criteria. Scheme of central government or state government, NBFC, and you can say Indias. You can just remember these keywords also to help you to remember the level 1. Bank, insurance, PSU, AMC, listed, public interested, who has raised funds, net worth, turnover criteria, scheme of central government, state government, NBFC and NDS. Okay. Other than this, now let's see which are the level 2 entities. Level 2 practice unit. Okay, level 2 means a practice unit which has undertaken any of the audit or review other than which we have already discussed in level 1, but includes, okay, statutory audit, internal audit, concurrent audit, system or tax audit. So other than level 1, okay, audit other than level 1, which includes stat audit, concurrent, system, then internal audit, tax audit, any kind of review of you can say branches, or offices, review of public sector undertaking, review of bank, review of any insurance company. So stat audit, concurrent, system, internal, tax, review of office or branch, departmental review of PSU, bank or insurance, then you will be level 2. Okay. Stat audit of other NBFCs not covered in 1. Then you didn't generated more than prescribed limit. Then other assurance service. So what is not covered under 1 will automatically fall under level 2. Okay. So this is level 1 and level 2. So level 2 you can say a bit residuary in the nature. Majorly it is level 1. So whatever it is not covered in level 1 will fall under level 2. Okay. So there are certain special cases review also. This is the peer review. Okay, but there can be a special case peer review. Other than the level 1, level 2, there is special case review. Now, what is the special case review? Special case review means, if the institute, secretary, disciplinary directorate, or any other regulator, okay, if they has received any information received by secretary, you can say then ICI or disciplinary directorate or regulator or any regulator. Okay, if any information has been received by any of these people, okay, and in opinion of the board, and after in opinion of board, if board identified, okay, after receiving this information, after receiving this information, like if board thinks, okay, there is a requirement of a special review over and above the peer review that is being conducted, then they can provide or they can request for special case review. Okay, when any information or some critical information has been received regarding non-compliance, regarding proceedings which are going on, which can be for professional misconduct, something like that, and if board is in the opinion, okay, that we are required to conduct a special review, then they can intimate intimate the reviewer to conduct a special review in this case. Now, if any of the reviewer is not, if any of the practice unit is not covered, then they need to apply to the board within 30 days from the date of, they need to apply to the board for the peer review, and board within 30 days will, on the date of such request, will act upon that request and will, cover that unit into the peer review. So let's say, for example, if some of the practice units are left out, okay, although like every practice unit will be covered and the rest of the practice unit will be covered in the level 2, but if by chance, if any of the practice unit which is left out, then they need to request to the board, okay, that they are left out, they need to be covered. So that is for the level 1, level 2 category of the practice unit. Clear? Okay. Let me take a few questions on level 1, level 2, then we can move ahead. Okay. Now, I'll write down the name of the firm, the audit they are carrying on, and you need to provide whether this is a level 1 practice unit or level 2. Okay. ABC company carrying on statutory audit of branch audit of let's say DEF Bank. Okay, they are conducting the branch audit of BEF bank. Then this is the first one. Second, ABD and company. Okay. Statutory audit of you can of Maharashtra PSU. There is a Maharashtra PSU, okay, which is having turnover rupees 270 CR. Third entity, okay. Statutory audit of MNO Limited, preparing its FS as per AS, that is accounting standards. GH and company, okay. Statutory audit of LLP, okay, conducting a statutory audit of LLP, which has raised loan, okay, which has raised loan from bank of rupees let's say 60 CR, okay, and five HG and company, let's say statutory audit of another LLP which has raised loan from bank A rupees 20 CR, NBFC A rupees 40 CR, okay. Now you tell me which of the firms, like these are the name of the firms, which of the firms will be category level 1 and which of the firms will be level 2. So which of the firms will be level 1 and which of the firms will be level 2? Pretty simple. Based on what we discussed right now, pretty easy. Come on, guys. Come on. Pretty easy. Level 1, level 2, just you need to classify based on the thing that we discussed right now. Come on, guys. I'm waiting for your answer. Okay. Good. I'm getting the answers. It's good. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on, guys. Pretty simple. I'm just waiting for your answer. Okay. Let's discuss one by one. Statutory branch audit of DEF Bank. What we discussed, guys, in level 1 is statutory central audit. Statutory central audit of banks and insurance. If it's the statutory audit of branches of banks, then it will be level 2. Okay. So if it is a statutory branch audit of DEF Limited, then it will be level 2. Okay. Now, statutory audit of Maharashtra PSU, which is having turnover 270 CR. Okay. Now, as per the conditions of level 1, for a PSU or state or central, statutory audit of a state or central PSU or credit cooperative society having turnover greater than 250 CR. Here it is 270 CR, which is again greater than 250, then it will be level 1. Okay. Statutory audit of MNO Limited preparing its financial statement as per AS, not Ind AS. So our condition was for level 1 that they should be preparing financial statement as per Ind AS. So hence this will be level 2. Statutory audit of LLP, which has raised loan from bank of rupees 60 CR. Now for loan condition, it was the limit is 50 CR. Raise funds 50 CR from banks or financial institution. So that will be again level 1. Okay. Now statutory audit of LLP, which has raised loan from a bank of 20 CR and NBFC of 40 CR. Now you tell me, this last one, this one, whether this will be level 1 or level 2. So you tell me whether it will be level 2 or level 1. Simple. So Okay. Good. Okay. Now, if you see the conditions which are mentioned, okay, it says that bank, it is raised from public, bank, or financial institutions. Now the question will be whether NBFC is covered under financial institution or not. Okay. So yes, NBFC will be part of financial institution and it will be covered under level 1. Here, there is no specific guidelines given whether NBFC will be part of financial institution or not. So if you go by the definition itself, which is provided in the RBI Act, okay, which says that, Section 45 IA that you also, refer to in audit of NBFCs, that to carry a non-banking financial company can commence or carry on the business of a non-banking financial institution without obtaining a certificate. So they cannot carry with like business of financial institution without obtaining a certificate. So from that point of view, we can say that, okay, it's a financial institution, if nothing is clarified. So this will be level 1. Okay. So this is the particular category wise level 2, level 1. Understood? Any doubts? First and third will be level 2, rest will be level 1. Because first one is also my branch audit. Okay, I hope it is clear. Good. Let's move. So I hope level 1, level 2 bifurcation is pretty much clear now. Okay, let me move forward then. So we saw the level wise bifurcation. Okay, what is level 1, level 2? Okay. Then we saw the special case review. Now, for level 5, there is a bifurcation of level 1 and level 2 because on the periodicity of the peer review. Now, for level 1 practice units, now when I say peer review of practice units, there should be a time frame that every year it is required to be conducted. Once in 2 years, once in 3 years. So the timeline or you can say periodicity for the practice unit for the peer review goes based on the level. Periodicity means that peer review will be conducted. Peer review will be conducted for practice unit level 1, practice unit level 2, once in 3 years, and once in 4 years for level 2. So that is the use of level 1 and level 2. We bifurcate on the basis of level 1 and level 2 because that decide the periodicity of peer review. Okay. That will decide the periodicity of peer review. Yeah. Now, so that is a peer review. That is, we understood, okay, fine, the requirements of the peer review and how it, when it is required to be conducted once in 3 years, what is covered under the peer review, practice unit, reviewer qualification, all those details. Now, the next topic we are going to cover is periodicity. After periodicity of peer review, how the peer review is conducted. Okay, you can say what should be the approach of the reviewer, or what is the procedure they need to follow for the peer review process. Okay, and then what will be the obligations of practice unit. Okay, what will be the duties of practice units, and what is the process of peer review that is required to be followed. Like we conduct audit, so there is a process. Okay, planning, execution, reporting. Same way for the peer review also there is a process. Now the process of peer review, if you say, is bifurcated in 4 stages. Okay. So the 4 stages are: first, where selection of practice unit and appointment of reviewer is done. Selection of practice unit, and for that practice unit, appointment of reviewer is done. Okay, that is a stage 1. Once that is done, then reviewer will move to planning for peer review, then execution, and finally it will go to reporting. Okay, now we'll discuss one by one what is done in which stage. Okay, so once in the stage where the practice unit and appointment is done, what happens is that a notification goes to the practice unit that you are selected for the peer review, and that is done by the board. So board notifies the practice unit regarding selection. Okay, you are being selected as a peer review. Okay, a detailed declaration, like in a form of a questionnaire, is there that is approved by the board, is submitted by the practice unit within 7 days. Okay, from the date of notification by the board that you have been selected as a practice unit, so that by using that form, a reviewer is allotted from the panel of 3 reviewers that is identified by the board as per the declaration and questionnaire submitted by the that practice unit. So a declaration cum questionnaire is required to be submitted by practice unit. Okay, within 30 days from date of notification, so that reviewer to be allotted from the panel of 3 reviewers, which are identified reviewers, can be allotted from the panel of 3 reviewers that is identified by the board as per the declaration and questionnaire submitted by the practice unit. Okay, so then three names of reviewers will be provided to practice unit. Okay, based on the declaration. Now the practice unit needs to select one reviewer. Okay, they need to select one reviewer and need to intimate the board. Okay, within 7 days. Within 7 days of receipt of name. Okay, so within 7 days you need to intimate back to the board. Now, once the name has been, intimated to the board, okay, once the name is intimated to the board, then board within 7 board shall intimate the reviewer that you have been selected, okay, for peer review by this particular practice unit. Fine. And reviewer needs to provide consent. Within 7 days. Okay. So how it goes is, first board will notify the practice unit that you are selected and declaration will be given. Declaration is required to be, filled and returned back to the board within 30 days from the notification. After that, 3 names will be given to the practice unit. Practice unit needs to select one name of reviewer and needs to intimate within 7 days to the board. Afterward, board will intimate that reviewer that you are selected, and that reviewer needs to provide consent again within 7 days from the date of intimation by the board. Okay. So that is the first selection and appointment of the reviewer process. Once the selection and appointment is done, like we have finalized, okay, who is the reviewer, who is the practice unit, then what? Then what is required to be done is, some information is required to be submitted by required to be furnished by practice unit. So that information is required to be given within 2 days. Within 2 days, okay, they need to provide a copy of questionnaire earlier submitted to the board to the reviewer. So the questionnaire that was submitted to the board, copy of questionnaire which was submitted to the board, that copy is required to be submitted to reviewer. Okay, that copy will be submitted to the reviewer. That should be filled completely. Okay. And other than that, details of any proceeding against the practice unit, or let's say its partners, or any of the staff of practice unit which has been taken by any of the regulatory or any investigation which is going on in related to any of the assurance engagement during the 3 financial years preceding the period of review. Okay, preceding the period of review. is required to be provided in that questionnaire. So details of any proceedings, okay, by any regulatory, against any staff, partner or anything, okay, related to assurance engagement, okay, related to assurance engagement for a period of 3 financial years. 3 financial years preceding the period of review. Of review or any time after or after the period of review or during the period of review. So it starts with 3 financial years preceding the period of review and it goes thereafter till the date of submission, means till the date. If any of the proceedings has been taken, or if any of the proceedings has been initiated, then the details of that proceeding, okay, starts from the, let's say this is the period of review. So 3 financial years back plus till date of submission, okay, from the period of review, even the completion of the period of review till the date of submission. So that particular whole period, for whole period, if any of the proceedings has been initiated, then you need to provide the details of that proceedings. And any of the information that peer review board can also, share any information with the reviewer related to any UDIN that has been generated by the peer review firm or practice unit firm or like that way. So information that can be submitted by the peer review board also to the reviewer. That is the information to be provided by practice unit. Okay. Once the information is provided, okay, then what reviewer needs to do is, once the information is submitted, then reviewer within 7 days, reviewer within 7 days of receiving information from the practice unit needs to select the sample. Okay, needs to select these samples for peer review. Now these samples will be of assurance engagement and he needs to communicate that sample to the practice unit and peer review board. So communicate sample to practice unit and peer review board that this is a sample have been selected. Okay. Then what he will do is, generally he will, before start of the execution, he will visit reviewer, will visit practice unit, will meet the owner or the partners over there. Okay, he will discuss how do you work, he will understand. Remember in audit, we used to, there is a standard or there is a step of the audit that we understand the entity and its environment. Same way, reviewer will visit the PU practice unit, and he will conduct on-site review, initial meeting. Okay, on-site review or initial meeting with the practice units. So directly, let's say for example, if you are a reviewer, you will not directly start the review. Okay, I have selected the sample, tomorrow I am starting the review. No. First, you'll go and visit the practice unit. You will speak to the partners. You will speak. Okay, what is the type of assurance engagement that have been selected? You will ask. Okay, some background on that assurance engagement that you have selected. You will ask them. Okay, when you can provide me data, when I can come. What are the where you have kept all the data? So like on this office, some other branch office where you need to visit. All those details you will discuss in the initial meeting. Okay, in case of any doubt, whom to contact, who will be the contact person for us, everything, all those details will be discussed in that initial meeting. And at least you need to provide 5 days, at least 5 days needed to be provided, to be given for documentation. To be kept ready. So you will provide 5 days, at least 5 days. Like it can be more than 5 days also, but at least 5 days. Okay, this is the sample I have selected. Now I will be requiring these documents. Please arrange these documents. You will not do like this. Okay, today I am coming for the first time. Now give me the document. No. At least you need to provide 5 days before asking for the documents. You cannot directly jump onto the office and ask the doctor, okay, give me the document of this engagement. Meeting will conduct. This is a sample. We will be coming on this date. This we will be the coming on this time. We'll be requiring this documents. This is the list of documents you need to keep ready. We'll be inspecting this document. This will be the person with whom we will be contacting. This the person who will be a point of contact for us. Okay. Then a whole plan of the peer review will be discussed. Okay. These many dates we will be taking, and the reviewer and practice unit shall need to be mutually cooperative with each other to ensure that the whole process is completed within 60 days. So process of peer review is required to be completed in 60 days. Okay. So the whole process is required to be completed within 60 days from the notification of the selection of practice unit and selection of its reviewer. Clear? That is something we are talking about planning. Now let's talk about execution and reporting. Okay. So on execution, what you will do? You discuss the details that, okay, this is a sample. You discussed, this is a list of document you will require. Okay. Now, once you will provide those details, then you will go on site and perform some review. Okay. You will perform on-site review. Of documents. Now you will be given 7 days for on-site review. 7 days maximum for on-site review of documents. So you need to conduct the on-site review within 7 days. Okay. When I say 7 days, they are working days. Not Saturday, Sunday, but working days. Okay. Now, when I say review, what review you will be conducting is first compliance review. Okay, you will be conducting a compliance review. Now, what you will do in compliance review is you will ensure that general controls regarding independence, maintenance of professional skill and standard, regarding staff recruitment, office administrations. So compliance review of general controls will be conducted, in which you will see, okay, how the independence is maintained. How the general policies are complied with. Okay. Then how professional skill and professional standards are complied with. How staff is recruited and supervision and development of staff related things. Okay. If any expert is hired or outside consultation is taken, then regarding that outside consultation or expert. So when I say general controls means what are the policies regarding these areas, you will understand the policies. Okay, framed by practice unit. Now then you will see, okay, whether these policies comply remember technical, professional, ethical requirements, or other requirements which are there in the scope, plus the requirements which are there in the scope that we discussed in the start. Okay, whether these policies cover the requirements mentioned in the scope, like some of let's say independence. So there are independence requirements. Already these requirements are issued by at various laws, regulations, plus issued by the ICI. So whether the independence require policies on the independence are in compliance with the requirements of the issued by the institute or any laws and regulations which are there. Okay. So first you will see the general controls regarding this, and you will see how much reliance I can place on these general controls. Once you identify, analyze the general control, then for the that particular assurance engagement, okay, that you have selected as a sample. So you will see, okay, how many samples that you have selected, okay, that will be based on the size of the assurance engagement, methodology adopted by the practice unit for providing assurance service, number of partners, number of locations, fees charged. Okay. Now, those are the things that are considered while selecting the samples. Once you selected the sample at the planning stage, those samples can be increased or can be changed during the execution stage, but that happens very rarely. But there are chances that you can increase your sample size during the execution stage. Okay. Once you select the samples, then you need to perform two things: compliance approach plus substantive approach. Pretty much similar on the ground of, let's say in audit, we do the compliance and substantive approach. It's on the same line. Compliance approach means whether the controls procedures have been properly established and followed by the practice unit. Okay. So I'm talking about controls established by practice unit. Okay. Established by practice unit related to that assurance service are being performed. Okay. So controls to ensure controls established by practice unit to ensure that assurance engagement are delivered as per technical, professional and ethical standards. So these are not the controls of the entity. These are not control on the financial reporting, but these are the controls established by the practice unit to ensure that the assurance engagement are delivered as per the technical, professional and ethical standards. Again, these are not the controls of the sample that we have selected. So for example, we have selected the sample of ABC Limited. I'm not talking about the control of ABC Limited. I'm not talking about the control over the financial reporting, but I'm talking about the controls which are established by the practicing unit to ensure assurance engagement are delivered as per the TPE standards. Clear? This is a compliance approach I'm talking about. What is the substantive approach? In substantive approach, I will test and review working papers to ensure that assurance engagement are delivered as per TPE standards. So I will go to the working papers in detail. I'll review the working papers. I'll make sure that whatever assurance engagement which has been delivered, so the assurance services which are provided, that assurance services are as per the technical, professional and ethical standards. Means they are as per the accounting standards or applicable, Ind AS applicable, engagement and quality control standards. Okay, any guidelines issued by the ICI or council. Okay, any other laws and regulations which are applicable. So those are complied with while providing the assurance engagement. So I'll review the work papers to ensure that the assurance engagements are provided as per the TPE standards. Okay, so that's the two approach I will follow for the execution. Compliance approach and substantive approach. Over and above compliance review of general controls, I will do this. This is related to the sample I have selected. Compliance and substantive approach is related to the sample I have selected. Clear? Okay. Now, once I do the execution, then it comes the reporting. Then what I'm required to do in the reporting is, let's say for example, at certain of the areas I identified, the practice unit has not complied with the technical, professional or ethical standards while providing the assurance survey. Then what I'm required to do is, I cannot directly issue the report. Okay, that okay, the report is issued, you are not complied, final. No, this is not the case. First of all, for the discussions and findings. So after completion of on-site review, before making my report to the board, I am required to communicate my findings to the practice unit. So reviewer needs to communicate findings to practice unit. Okay, first time I'll communicate my findings to the practice unit and I'll ask their opinion. Okay. I'll ask their opinion, or not opinion, I'll ask their clarification. Clarification regarding the non-compliance or deficient or any of the issue that I have identified. So I'll ask them a clarification. Okay, provide the clarification. Then practice unit within 5 days of receipt of such finding required to make their submission or representation in writing. So clarification is required within 5 days of submission of findings. So this clarification will be provided to the reviewer. Fine. Okay. Let's say, for example, if the reviewer is satisfied with the reply received from the practice unit. Okay. Now there can be two scenarios. If he is satisfied, if he is not satisfied. Okay. So I'll bifurcate. Satisfied by the response of practice unit. If the reviewer is satisfied by the response of the practice unit, then he is required to submit a report, peer review report to the board along with his initial findings, response by the practice unit, and how he has dealt with. So submit a report, peer review report to board, and that report should have initial findings, reply received, how a reviewer has dealt with reply. Okay. So these are the contents of the peer review report, and a copy is required to be submitted to practice unit. Copy of report to practice unit. That is the procedure for when you are satisfied, when the reviewer is satisfied. If the reviewer is not satisfied, okay, then what? Then reviewer needs to submit modified peer review report. Okay. In that, what will be the content of that particular report is initial findings. Okay. Then second thing, comments, not comments, clarification or reply received. Reply received from the practice unit. Okay. And again, same, how reviewer has dealt with it. Okay. And again, a copy is required to be submitted to practice unit. To practice unit. Okay. That is in case of modified report. But in case of modified report, this doesn't stop it here. In case of a modified report, board will order a follow-on review. Okay, so a follow-on review will be ordered after 1 year from the date of issue of report. After 1 year from the date of issue of report. Okay. So this is how peer review procedure is done, reporting procedure of peer review. Okay. Now, I'll just write it over here. One thing, when I say initial findings, that is known as a preliminary. That is known as a preliminary report. Okay. And when I say a reply by practice unit, that is termed as a response. Okay. Response to preliminary report. So you should write these terms in exams, that preliminary report and response to the preliminary report by the practice unit. Okay. So once on the receipt of peer review report, board within 3 months issue a peer review certificate. So once the reporting is done, then within 3 months of reporting, a peer review certificate is issued. So within 3 months of reporting, a peer review certificate is issued. And if they are not able to issue, then they will provide the reason why they are not able to issue the peer review certificate. Okay. And validity is mentioned on the peer review certificates. So there is a validity mention on the peer review certificate that this is valid till particular date. And before the expiry, they need to, the practice unit is required to get conducted the peer review again. Okay. That is the procedure for the to conduct the peer review. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt till now, till any of the topic that we discussed today? Any doubt? Branches of banks are considered as the level 2. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt with respect to any of the topic? This is the process of peer review: selection, planning, execution, reporting. We discuss periodicity, once in 3 years, once in 4 years. Practice unit classification, level 1, level 2, special case review. We discussed peer review of practice unit, like scope of peer review, objective, technical, professional, ethical standards. Then assurance engagement, what are assurance engagements, eligibility criteria. Any doubt till now, guys? In the next lecture, we will be continuing this topic of 1 or 2 area of peer review is pending that I will be taking care of, like peer review board, and then we will move to the quality review. Okay. Please, I'll suggest read as much as you can. Reason because it will enhance your clarity. It will help you understanding the topic. Okay. And it will provide you detailed understanding when we will be discussing over here. So please read this particular thing, revise after the lecture, and also before start of the next lecture, please revise the rest of the topic also. Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's lecture. Please provide your feedback on the mobile app. What you liked, what you not, what additional thing you need, and any specific areas that you want to get it covered. So please provide your feedback. It is very important to us. Okay. Take care. Have a nice day ahead. See you in the next lecture.